Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. I'm Oliver Leader de Saxe and here are your top stories on Thursday, the 17th of April. The flat from hell, woman arrested on suspicion of child neglect near Faversham. Amplifying unheard voices, new Dover art installation to tackle veteran homelessness. And Taxi, take a look inside the life of Kent's cab drivers. Well, first tonight, disturbing images shared with KMTV and Kent Online showed a shocking state of a flat near Faversham after a woman was arrested on suspicion of child neglect. Neighbours living next to the flat are now calling for an urgent clean-up after some described the smell being so bad they thought someone had died. Bartholomew Hall has all the details and a warning. The report you're about to see includes some images some viewers may find upsetting.
It's the flat from hell. That's what neighbours are calling this property near Faversham after a woman was arrested on suspicion of child neglect. From soiled mattresses to what appears to be human faeces smeared on its walls, these disturbing images shared with KMTV have revealed an insight into what was going on inside the flat. Those who live nearby say they're fearing for their health, describing the smell as so bad that they first thought someone had died. The images show a shocking amount of grime and litter, with one appearing to show a child's doll laying beside empty snack wrappers and a broken bed frame. On the 5th of January, officers were called to the address after concern was raised for the occupants, but when they arrived, the flat was empty. Later that same day, a 26-year-old woman was arrested outside the county on suspicion of child neglect and animal cruelty. She was later released on bail. Horrified neighbours who didn't want to share their real names are now calling on the building's housing association to carry out an urgent clean-up.
It's horrible. I can't even put it into words. The smell was so bad that we thought someone had died up there. That's why we called the police. We are all incredibly upset that we had to deal with this. I smelt it every day. It makes me feel sick. The fact that children are living there is horrific. The flies are absolutely everywhere. It's unbearable.
A spokesperson for Mears Living told us it's aware of the issues and is continuing to work with those involved to reach a resolution as soon as possible. But with the flat remaining unsecured this week and an infestation issue growing, the nearby residents who spoke to us say the flat is becoming harder to live near every day. Bartholomew Hall for KMTV.
Now, during World War II, acoustic mirrors lined Dover's coast to detect the sound of enemy aircraft flying towards you. Now, the Royal British Legion Industries have launched an installation of one of these acoustic mirrors. You can see it right beside me right now in the seaside town to raise money and awareness for veteran homelessness. Veteran Finn McDermott went down to Dover to find out more.
The Port of Dover sees ships coming into its waters every day, but now it has a new arrival that it hasn't had built on its seafront for nearly a century. An acoustic sound mirror, but this one is designed to make people more aware of the struggles of veterans rather than the sounds of planes. Back in World War II, these sound mirrors would have lined the south coast, all to detect the noise of incoming enemy aircraft. But this one takes on a different meaning. It's all to raise awareness and amplify the voices of veterans who need support the most. It was commissioned by the Royal British Legion Industries and launched on the anniversary of both Victory in Europe Day and the invention of radar.
So we've been working on it for several months. Obviously VE Day 80 is coming up. It's a really important time. Potentially the last time we'll have a major anniversary with people that were still in combat and serving during World War II. So we've been working on it for quite a long time. As I say, Martin's worked with us before and he's come to us with this idea and we've worked to develop it together.
The RBLI also say that in the last 12 months alone, they've seen a 45% increase in requests and referrals for emergency veteran accommodation. Former Chief of the General Staff and RBLI patron, Lord Dannett CBE, thinks the timing of the launch is vital because of the increase of referrals, but also with the state of current global affairs. And he isn't the only one.
We've got to bear in mind this year it's all the more important with that current threat from Russia on Ukraine. And I've just come back from Tallinn where of course they're also on the front line of that threat. So it's so important people remember the importance of this, but also we reward and look after veterans who need us and donate to the RBLI and other charities to ensure that veterans are treated with dignity and listened to, which I think this is quite important, being a radar, which of course assists with listening.
For the installation, the RBLI commissioned the same artist that designed their Tommy logo.
Well, I've always loved the acoustic mirrors that you can almost see either side of us here, 2 or 3 miles away from where we are now. These beautiful, steadfast, sentinel structures made of concrete. They weren't built as artworks, but to me they look like artworks. And I wanted to draw together the Tommy and the idea of listening, and the amplification of ancient voices, learning from the echoes of history.
And by bringing a piece of Dover's past back into the present, Martin and the RBLI hope the structure will raise money and awareness that allows them to continue to house veterans and their families. Finn McDermott for KMTV in Dover.
Now, ahead of Easter weekend, you might be on the lookout for a film to pick out and enjoy with the family over the coming days. What better place to start looking than the Kent Film Club, our show all about what people in the county are watching. We were actually joined by the show's presenter, Chris Deasy, on the morning show earlier today. We did a little quiz about the places in Kent that are part of the cinematic history of the county.
First of all, try and figure out where you are. They're all Kent locations, and then work out a film that's related to it.
OK, well, I would imagine that this is similar to where we are now. I see, the A282. So I'm guessing that this is...
a bit higher.
A bit higher.
Into the distance.
Just look up a bit. No, too high.
Too high.
Just look in the distance and higher. What can you see there?
That's where we are now, isn't it? No. The towers.
Is that a bridge, maybe?
Oh.
Some sort of crossing.
Oh, the Dartford crossing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is.
I was driving near there just a few moments ago.
Yes. So, can you think of any films that have used the Dartford
crossing? I know one of the Fast and the Furious films. I think.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, because I could have just made that up, by the way. It sounds improbable, but I'm sure there was an action film.
Some sort of action sequence, something magical.
Not Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter films.
Yes, Harry Potter. So it was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, which is a 2010 movie. The Dartford Crossing, we do have a picture we might be able to get up of the scene. It was used in a chase scene where Harry, Ron and Hermione are pursued by Death Eaters. And there was some great behind-the-scenes shots. If we can get that up, this is the sort of behind-the-scenes shots where you've got Hagrid on his famous motorcycle going the wrong way through the Dartford Crossing there.
Yeah, that wasn't my experience an hour ago, I can confirm that.
I hope you paid his toll as well.
Yeah, indeed.
But I've just Googled it. From a very brief look, some scenes from Fast and Furious were filmed in Dartford.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
And of course,
watch that one.
I'm glad, yeah. So obviously that when we have Ronnie is our amazing producer, and I read out all the trivia for the question, and sometimes I'm genuinely surprised as I'm reading it. I thought, was that film? I think once I thought, because I know Lord of the Rings was made in Australia, but I think I was probably conflating mentally Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings, and therefore the idea that Lord of the Rings was filmed somewhere near Dartford on the crossing, I made that up in case anyone is googling that now. But Fast and Furious was indeed filmed just very nearby.
Fantastic. I'll have to go back and watch those ones again. Yeah. Second location is up on your screen now.
This is Empire of Light, Dreamland in Margate.
Yes.
And I think not that many, well, probably about 15, 20 years ago now, there was a cinema literally in here, in Dreamland. And I remember seeing Bewitched with Nicole Kidman and Michael Caine in there. And a heist film with Christopher Plummer, Jodie Foster. And who would have thought that then, 15 years later, Clive Owen, I think, was in that one as well. And about 15 years later, this would actually be the location for that Oscar-nominated Roger Deakins Best Cinematography picture that was made by Sam Mendes.
It was a brilliant film as well. Such a beautiful film as well, shot so well, and the cinematography there. Yeah. But it just made Margate looks so beautiful as well, with those lights that they strung all across the seafront as well. Such a lovely time in the sort of Kent recent history, I suppose. Okay, let's move on to the next one now. I'll get it up for you. Here we go. See if you can work out where we are from here.
I would say that looks to me like Dover Castle. That looks like Dover Castle to me.
We are up at Dover Castle at the moment.
There's a cinema there very nearby. Where I visit, so Dover.
So we're looking down at the sort of beach and the port there, and just over in the distance there is Dover Castle, and the sort of main part of it. So, can you think of any films that were shot here?
In Dover Castle?
There's probably a few, but there's one that I've got written down.
I'll probably be able to tell you the year if you give me a clue.
Into the Woods.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know what year that was?
No, 2012, something
14.
like that?
14, very close. Yes, it was. Yeah, that surprised me as well. I'm a big fan of musical theatre. They shot this sort of wedding scene.
Makes sense, doesn't
I
it?
believe this is just before the giant comes down in the middle of the film. Yes, Stover's.
I haven't seen this film or heard of it.
Oh, Into the Woods, love the Sondheim musical, brilliant. I much prefer the stage version.
Names in it as well.
Yes, back in my theatre days, I was in a production of Into the Woods. Yes, played the narrator. It was a great time. Anyway, away from my musical background, let's go to your final location now. See if you can guess where this is.
Oh, hang on.
Close to home.
No, hang on just a moment. This look, we say close to home. This is like almost like virtually outside the studio. This is Chatham Dockyard.
This is Historic Dockyard, Chatham. You're absolutely right. And there's many films that you can choose from here. So what have you got for us?
I mean, we got the new Mission Impossible film, The Dead Reckoning, coming out in May. So that's the one that comes to mind.
That is a good one. I obviously, there aren't so many. I picked out Sherlock Holmes, 2009, the Robert Downey Jr. version. Little picture we've got coming up of them sort of in the dockyard there.
In one of the hangars or workshops or something?
Yes, the big warehouses, naval rigging. Great film as well with Robert Downey Jr. This was sort of just before the Benedict Cumberbatch version, so I think it does get overshadowed, but still a great one.
Well, you can catch the latest Kent Film Club on our website and later this evening. We have a short break now, but afterwards we'll take a look inside the inside life of Kent's cabbies. I'll see you in a few minutes' time. Welcome back to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. Now, a dramatic video shows a car on fire on the slip road to one of Kent's busiest roundabouts. The incident happened about 1 p.m. near the A299 Thanet Way, just outside Faversham. You can see the car on fire right here. Kent Police said that officers attended the scene where they assisted fire crews, while Kent Fire and Rescue have been contacted for further information. Now, an investigation has been launched after a fire engine was involved in a crash in Bearstead after responding to an emergency call. The vehicle was travelling along the A20 Ashford Road at 10:30 a.m. when it hit a car heading the opposite direction. Having travelling on the blues and twos, meaning it had its siren on and was responding to a serious incident. 2 people in the car were cut out by other firefighters and taken to hospital. Their injuries aren't believed to be life-threatening. Now, from brawls, drunks and runners to people vomiting in her car and being chased by the police, the job of a cabbie is rarely dull. And just 12 months into the role, a Kent taxi driver has opened up about perhaps one of the often overlooked jobs in our society. Kent Online reporter Joe Crosby joined us on the Kent Morning Show earlier today, catching up on the life of one of Kent's newest taxi drivers.
Every single story she said was almost a joke. It was brilliant. She was very funny and had, like I say, absolute treasure troves of, as you said, drunks, brawls that she'd witnessed. It sounds like the Wild West, really. Yeah. Sometimes when they're driving round, they have to deal with the public, so that's why, and especially on a Friday and Saturday night, you get all sorts of people out.
I was going to say, dealing with the public, but the public at their worst, intoxicated, right?
It's always a good ride though, isn't it, when you've got a taxi driver who can tell you a good story, when you can have a good chat with them, especially, as you say, after a night out or something like that. Let's take a listen to let's take a watch of your package now of your, your conversations with her and some of the stories that she shared with you.
Hi, my name's Charisse. I'm a taxi driver with Green Cabs. I've been taxiing for about a year now, and I've been taking Kent Online out, sharing some of my stories.
I picked one guy up from a pub near the Stumble Inn, and he was basically falling all over the place, had his girlfriend with him, and she was like, look, I'm really, really sorry. He is very drunk, but I promise he won't be sick or anything like that. We just need to get to the hotel. They were going to the Travel Lodge. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll take you. Got him in the car, drove to the Travel Lodge. He fell asleep in the back of the car, trying to wake him up. We could not get him out of the car for love nor money. He just wanted to lay on the seats and fall asleep. So she's literally shouted at him to get out the car. As he woke up, then decided to be sick in the car. Then, so she's trying to catch it in her hands, wiped it down herself and then put her hands on the seat, got it all over the seats. So eventually, obviously, between the two of us, we had to kind of just sort of push him out of the car, at which point he just fell on the floor. And that's where he basically stayed. On a slow period at the moment, we're probably averaging about 15 jobs a day. And I'd say at least 10 of those jobs ask me, have you been busy?
Is that the worst question to ask a taxi driver?
It is, because you hear it so often, but at the same time, it's a conversation breaker. So it does start off the conversation. And even as a cabbie myself, I come into work or I get into another cab and I go, so you've been busy? It's just one of those things, the first thing that pops into your head to ask a cabbie.
Yeah, some incredible stories there.
Yeah, I think she definitely ticks the box of an interesting cab driver. And was there anything that's kind of surprised you?
I think the fact that how often they have to deal with it, especially on a Friday and Saturday night. I mean, having someone, and I don't want to upset anybody's breakfast here, but having someone, throw up in the back of their cab and, having to go up and clean it up before picking up your next passenger is really quite shocking. Just as a human being having to do that, as funny as it sounds, it is actually pretty horrible. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the shocking things. The shortage of drivers as well is a massive problem for these taxi firms, especially after COVID. And I think there's something you wanted to ask about, wasn't it? About
is that just people not not going into the role because there was such a decline in use during COVID? Is it just sort of not really picked up?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I actually talked to the boss of Green Cabs who took me round. They're one of the big firms in Sittingbourne. They do about 2,000 jobs every week, so massive firm. They have about 30 drivers who take them around on these jobs. And he said that basically after COVID, there was a massive drop-off as a lot of people left to go do more kind of steady work, so like delivery driving or warehouse driving. And that just hasn't picked up. He said they're only just getting back to levels, to that 30 driver level that they were pre-pandemic, and obviously they've been growing and stuff like that. So it has been difficult. There's one of the main problems is the DBS check. It takes around about 12 weeks, so people can be really keen and want to become a taxi driver, but because of that wait period, they go, hang on, I'll just go get another job in that time period, especially if they need the money or something like that. So yeah, it is difficult for them, but it is coming back up after the pandemic, I think just about.
Yeah, I worried about the sort of the incentives to become a taxi driver, because you think you have to go out on the Friday nights and Saturday nights when you're going to get the most money, so you kind of got to go, but you're going to perhaps deal with a lot of abuse and things like the potholes and the traffic as well, especially around Medway, across Kent. It doesn't seem like an attractive job.
Yeah, I mean, there is that part of it, especially traffic in Sittingbourne. People who live in Sittingbourne or have to go through it will know how bad it is. I live in Sittingbourne myself, and it is terrible. Rush hour is awful. But Charisse was basically saying that, you know, that's the worst part of the job. The best part of the job is, you know, that human interaction she gets every single day.
Now, don't forget, you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website, kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all our reports, including this one, about the fight for school places on the Isle of Sheppey.
How do you feel about it all?
Pretty upset.
And why is that?
Because I'm just going to be away from all my friends and that.
Right, what homework have we got today?
Finding a secondary school is meant to be a joyous occasion, so has offered their son a place at a school in Faversham, more than 20 miles away and off the island.
It's just not suitable. I mean, there's safeguarding concerns straight away there, you know, not only that early in the morning, but him like doing that amount of travelling on his own, let alone being in an unfamiliar town that he's not even familiar with. It's just a whole shambles, to be fair.
And the council will have to take us to court for not sending him, and then we'll ask the judge if they feel that it's the right place for him to be. Because at the end of the day, they have to be accountable for doing it. And we can't send an 11-year-old on journeys like that every day for the next 5 years.
Now, due to Carl's parents' work commitments, he wouldn't be able to get a private car to Abbey School in Faversham. KCC have sent parents this journey planner. Now, if I take it from this bus stop here, it says it would take Carl 7 hours and 42 minutes by walking, cycling 2 hours, public transport 1 hour and 37 minutes, and that would involve both trains and buses.
2 new schools replaced the failing Oasis Academy after Ofsted rated it inadequate in 2022. Since then, more families have chosen to stay on the island rather than send their children to Sittingbourne, which could be behind the shortage of places. Last night, some of those affected gathered at a public meeting. Their frustration was clear.
I will not be sending her there. She was born and bred on this island. She should go to school on this island.
I can walk to the academy from my house. They take me into it, go to it, literally walking distance. And they're telling me I'm too far away.
For me, I felt like a failure as a parent.
Kent County Council says 56 Sheppey families were offered places off the island. Since, 60 more Year 7 places have been found. But around 25 families are still waiting for a place on the island. And now they want answers.
Yes, I would like to know why those numbers don't quite add up. And what's really frustrating this evening for a lot of the parents, they haven't been able to get that information out from Kent County Council.
In a statement, KCC says it will make its next full round of offers on the 24th of April. Then, the school-based appeals process will begin, in line with national statutory requirements. And when it comes to school transport, they say deciding who is eligible is also a statutory process, and they will apply the legislation in line with every other local authority. At a meeting, parents signed an open letter demanding answers and accountability. Many said they may have to quit their jobs to homeschool if no solution is found. Gabriel Morris in Warden.
And just before we go, it's time to take a very quick look at the weather. Tonight is looking partly cloudy, temperatures between 7 and 9 degrees, low wind speeds of 4 miles per hour. On the bank holiday Friday, it's looking a bit like a cloudy one, some sunshine peeking through 12 degrees up in Medway into the afternoon. It is heating up, 17 degrees over in Maidstone and Dartford. And for the rest of the weekend, cloudy and sunny in equal measure, heating up to 16 degrees by Monday. A cloudy start to next week. Well, you've been watching Kent Tonight live here on KMTV. There's more news made just for Kent throughout the evening. And don't forget, you can always keep up to date with the latest news across your county by logging onto our website, kmtv.co.uk, as well as liking and following us on social media, including TikTok and Facebook. If you have a story you think we should be covering, then please do get in touch. We love to hear whatever you have going on in the county. We have the Kent Morning Show back next week, and we have Kent Tonight back tomorrow. So I'll see you very, very soon. Have a lovely Easter weekend.